Hey guys, I'm Eric with American Muscle. In this video, we're going to do a quick review and install of the Senta VR2 style rear diffuser for all 2015 and later Dodge Challengers. Now you should really be checking this out if you want to go over the top of the already aggressive styling of your Challenger and set yourself apart from the rest of the Scat Pack. Now looking at the car we're working on today, which is an RT Scat Pack 1320 edition, this car already has a lot of attitude and go fast goodies installed. In fact, the owner tells me that he's added a whole lot more to his car, including an exhaust, headers, and a whole lot of other modifications. Now what makes this rear diffuser a perfect mod for this vehicle is that when you hear that aggressive crack of that exhaust note, everyone's turning to look and see where that came from, and they're going to be looking right at your rear diffuser. Now made from ABS plastic, this kit is cut using computer-aided design data from a 3D scan. The kit is currently priced around $325. Now I believe here at American Muscle we are currently recommending professional installation for this kit, and we're giving it a solid 3 out of 3 wrenches on our difficulty meter. Give yourself about 2 hours at least if you're going to be taking this job on yourself, and I definitely recommend adhering to the whole measure twice, drill once adage. A lot of people say measure twice, cut once, but when you're drilling holes in the valence of your vehicle, you definitely want to be taking care to make sure that you are drilling exactly where you need to go. And as far as the installation goes, one last thing I would recommend is that when you receive this kit shipped to you, it does not come with any specific instructions. Now that kind of cuts both ways. One way is that you will be able to customize the look and space out the vertical slats precisely where you want them to suit your particular taste, but that also makes the install a little bit more challenging. And when you look at the hardware that's included with this kit, you might want to double check what you receive. You may want to source some larger diameter or larger gauge bolts and nuts for this kit to give it a little bit more solid installation. So with that said, let's take a look at the tools we're going to use and I'll show you the installation. All right guys, tools you're going to use in this install include, you're going to need a tape measure, a Sharpie, I recommend some masking tape of a light color, an impact wrench, a Phillips head socket for your impact wrench, a hand socket wrench, a couple of drill bits, a 10mm socket, a small Phillips head screwdriver, 7mm and 10mm crescent wrenches, a couple of vice grips or similar clamping tools, and a drill. All right guys, now the first step to this custom installation and assembly is we're going to take out the locking pins here for the body molding because we're going to reuse these holes here to mount up the main pieces of our diffuser. All right, these are the locking pins, guys, that come in 2 pieces. First, you have to raise up the center piece. So grab a small flat blade screwdriver, just kind of work it up like that. And if you have a trim removal tool like this, it's really ideal for this type of job. And once that's unlocked, then that comes out like that. And then do that for the rest of the pins across the back. All right guys, to get started, I kind of mocked it up a little bit here and slid the vertical fins in here on the center part of the diffuser. So what we're first going to do is I'm going to take some of this tape and we're going to run a line of it across the leading edge here. Now this is where we're going to drill holes that are going to line up with the locking pin holes that we just removed those locking pins a second ago. And we're going to use those holes with some hardware that we had to source ourselves, but we're going to drill holes in here that are going to correspond with those. We're going to use this tape and a Sharpie to go ahead and do that. These fins here are just kind of mocked up like that. Just kind of wanted to show you generally how it's going to look. We're going to take these vertical fins off to do this next step. And once we get the tape on here, we're going to clamp this up using a couple of vice grips to kind of hold it in place while we mark the holes. All right, once we got it lined up and centered kind of way we want it, we clamped it on using a pair of vice grips. Now we're going to mark the holes from up top, and then we're going to slide the vertical fins on and tape it so that we can get the proper alignment that we want. Like I said, this is a total custom job, so you can basically line this up anywhere you want to kind of get a configuration to your own taste. All right guys, now you have these holes up top here. Go ahead and grab your Sharpie, and we're just going to in there as best we can. Put these holes. Have to press up on the diffuser panel that we have clipped up just to make sure. You do that for all 4 holes. All right, now go ahead and grab some of your vertical fins. We're gonna just start sliding them on. And just the only thing I would recommend as you're considering placement for these, be wary of your parking sensors if you have your car equipped with those, as well as making sure you give clearance for your license plate. If you were to put these on right here, you'd totally block your license plate, which may be illegal in your state. It probably is. Not to mention to make it really hard to get your plate on and off if you needed to. All right guys, now as you can see here, what we've done is we've aligned our vertical fins where we want them to suit our own taste basically. And we marked them off with tape on the insides of each one of these vertical slats so that we know just if you're gonna do it to the inside or to the center line of the vehicle, I should say, do that consistently with all the vertical fins so when we go over to the table and start drilling holes for the brackets, a little bit easier to remember what side the brackets are going on and getting everything lined up. So now we have that taped off. We're gonna go ahead and take this back off and start lining up our brackets and drilling some holes. All right guys, now, like I said, we sourced some of our own hardware, a little bit beefier stuff than came in the kit. So you might want to do the same. You're going to need a drill bit that's going to accommodate whatever hardware you're going to use. As you can see, the little Sharpie marks I made in the tape, we're going to drill holes corresponding with those. All right guys, now we have our horizontal stabilizer on the table here. We've put our fins back on, and remember we have the tape towards the inside, and we're gonna be mounting the brackets on we're looking at the bottom side of the horizontal stabilizer right now, and that's where we're gonna mount these brackets. So basically just going to line them up on the tape and mark holes with our Sharpie, basically where we're going to want to drill. And I'm doing it with the stabilizer on here just so I can check to make sure that it's lining up the way I want it to. But basically, once you have it set, we have the tape on here already. As long as your bracket there is flush with the edge of the tape, go ahead and mark a hole. And we're going to mark another one further down because we're going to put 2 brackets on per stabilizer, or per fin. And we're going to repeat that down the line. All right guys, now with the one we just did, I took a measurement, and just so they're uniform as far as how far back they're set, so that as you're looking at your finished piece in the end, you want your hardware where it's mounted up kind of looking uniform across the horizontal stabilizer. I took a measurement of where that dot is as far as how far back it's set in from the rear edge here. So I'm going to keep that measurement consistent, lining up the bracket with the edge of the tape, and we're going to go ahead and mark the hole right there. And that's just one recommendation I have if you want a nice uniform fit, and we're going to repeat that across. All right, now that we have all holes marked across our pieces of tape, guys, we're going to go ahead and get a hole drilled for each one. Now, for using the hardware that's in the kit, I've grabbed a 5/32 inch drill bit. Looks like that's going to be the right size for the bolts that they provided to us for this kit. All right guys, now we're gonna start threading our bolts through. Go ahead and grab these small nylon lock nuts and these small bolts. We're gonna show it so that the bolt head is up top, and that's what's gonna be visible. I'm just gonna start these by hand right now. Now to tighten these down, I'm just going to use a Phillips head screwdriver and a 7mm wrench for these tiny little nuts here. Tighten them up a little bit just so they don't move around. We're not going to fully tighten them until we get our vertical fins on here. Then go ahead and repeat that for the rest of the holes. All right guys, now what you see here now is before we start marking holes on our vertical fins, we want to make sure that once we mark the holes on the fin, we're making sure that we're putting it back on the brackets that we marked it with, because this horizontal piece has like a curve to it. So the setback is going to be a little bit different on each one of these. So the holes might line up a little bit different. They're not going to be exactly the same. So once you start marking holes, they're going to be specific to that fin. So we have the positions marked 1, 2, 3, and 4, and I'm going to label the fins 1, 2, 3, and 4 to make sure we're putting them right back in the right spot. So now we have the stabilizer or vertical fin up all the way. I'm just going to mark each hole with a Sharpie. and then repeat that for the remaining fins. All right guys, now we're gonna drill our holes for our vertical fins. All right, repeat that for panels 3 and 4. All right guys, so we got fin number 1, matching it up with number 1. We're gonna get our bolts through, make sure that our holes are lined up. And a little snug, that's just how we want it. Start our tiny nuts on here. And we'll go ahead and snug these up. Again, using a 7mm crescent or a wrench on there. And we'll repeat that for the rest of them. And repeat these for the remaining 2 upper flaps. All right guys, now we have all 4 of our vertical fins bolted to our horizontal piece here. So we're gonna go ahead and get this tape off. And once we have it off there, we're gonna double check our fitment. You can make minor adjustments as you go. And once you kind of have it mocked up into place, if you don't like the positions of the fins, you can always undo each of these little bolts, make the holes a little bit larger. That'll give you a little bit of wiggle room to adjust these and get it suited just to your taste, and then tighten everything back down. So let's go ahead. We're gonna mock this up onto the car, and then we're gonna move to the outer fins and finish the job. All right guys, now I grabbed, like I said, we sourced some of our own hardware for these holes here. They're gonna match up with those lock pins that we removed at the beginning of the video. And if you're gonna use thread locker, that's great. I have a lock washer that we're lining up with this as well. So we get started. We have it nice and snug, which is good. Kit like this loose with any of the fittings, then it's just going to lead to unwanted movement. You want it nice and firmly mounted on the car. And just with the hardware that I'm using, I happen to use, or I'm gonna need a 10mm on both sides. It may vary a little bit depending on what kind of hardware you source, but I'm just going with basic nut and bolt here. All right, now we're gonna repeat for the 2 middle holes here, guys. This one's a little tight here, guys, so we're gonna have to thread it up. But again, that's fine. Like I said, you want a very snug fit here with this. All right, guys, now for this side piece here, we got a piece of tape on the top already, more or less where we want it on the hole. And this is just to get the one hole started. And once we have that drilled, we'll be able to orient the panel however we want this direction. But we already measured it out here as far as how far we want this sticking out based on where we want the vertical piece to be positioned. So let's get that lined up. I've got my Sharpie here, and I'm just gonna reach down through the top, through the hole, and mark a little hole there. So I have the mark there. This is where we're gonna drill. All right, guys, now to keep things kind of uniform from side to side, we're gonna go ahead and fold this on top. And we're gonna drill a hole for the other side. All right, now that we have the hole drilled in this piece, I just mocked it up by taking a bolt and a nut up in there just to hold this piece upright. And once we got it lined up and this vertical end piece here where we want it, I'm gonna mark it off with tape so we can mark the holes for our brackets for this piece. All right, now we have this back off the car and on the table. Go ahead and grab one of your brackets. All right, now we have the other side. On the underneath, we're gonna use these holes to copy over just like we did for the main hole here. All right, now I already have the bolt with a washer on it, started from underneath, and we'll get it up into the hole here. And I have another washer, lock washer, and a nut for up top. All right guys, now we have this mocked up. It's not totally tightened down yet, and because we only have one point of attachment, this can pivot. We kind of have it lined up the way we like it right now. So I'm going to mark this right here with a piece of tape that kind of fits the inside of the valence cover here on the car. So we know pretty much where we want it. Because as we tighten this down, this might pivot a little bit. All right guys, now that we have this all set up the way we want, go ahead and repeat this for the same piece over on the driver's side. All right guys, now the manufacturer provides a set of self-tapping screws to go along, and we're gonna reinforce a couple of points here just to kind of firm things up a little bit more. We're gonna put one in here in the front because this is a little bit flappy right here. So like I said, we have it marked with tape where we want it to kind of line up on the valence. And with this, just something to note, the length of these screws, you don't want to be putting them in too far back here because you're going to be drilling far enough in, you might run into your exhaust canister right here if you have this equipped on your Challenger. All right, now repeat that on the other side. All right guys, now there are several self-tapping screws like this one still left in the kit. So if you want to reinforce this at all, if you pull on it kind of hard, it still will kind of do that. I don't want to pull on it too hard here, but we have all our bolts back here cinched up nice and tight. If you want to reinforce that with some of these self-tapping screws, I recommend putting at least one here in the middle and then one more out on the sides. You could put one here in between each of the sections like that, and that would reinforce it. Now, one thing to keep in mind is the further out you put it, the more visible it's going to be from the top side. So you want it out far enough that it's going to provide nice stability for this horizontal piece, but you don't want it so far out that it's going to be visible and a little bit unsightly. Now, as we wrapped up that installation, guys, we were using some self-tapping screws. There are a couple left in the kit. If you feel the need to reinforce it even further, go ahead and repeat that step a couple more times as you see fit. So for now, that wraps up this review and install of the Senta VR2 style rear diffuser in matte black for all 2015 and later Dodge Challengers. And for all things Challenger, keep it right here at AmericanMuscle.com.